What they do have, by the sounds of it, is the ESPN contract from Top Rank, which is a major coup, and they will have the opportunity to build fighters through that broadcaster, and also through them being a very powerful company, and Dana White having a huge profile as well. So, I look at it as a massive opportunity for the sport. I really do, and I know that His Excellency and gets a bit carried away with the interviews and stuff like that, but I presume we're all coexisting across the kind of facets of the Saudi Arabian businesses, which is Riyadh season, Ring Magazine events, the league, the WBC Grand Prix, and if we are asked to be involved in the league, if it's a good opportunity for our fighters and Matchroom, absolutely.
Definitely, and a massive fight for Dalton Smith. It seems like the perfect fight on April 19th to bridge that gap between European level and fighting for Albert Puello as well.
I think people will always kind of jump on a bandwagon, who's Jermaine? And the answer is he's a very good fighter in the top 15 who hasn't lost for 5 years, very tough, and I think he'll give Dalton Smith a good test. Last time out we were ordered to fight for the European title against Awiza. He's not a bad fighter. Dalton's just much better. This will be a different kind of fight. And in Yorkshire with Josh Warrington, Josh Padley, Ishmael Davis. Unfortunately, we've only got 2,500 tickets, and they'll go quickly. But it's a good night of boxing.
Final one from me as well. That mad press conference with Timo Lopez. Devin, how was it being around all of those guys?
I've actually got to know and speak to Timo Lopez a bit more lately. I actually quite like him. I didn't really like him, and I think sometimes he gets things wrong. I actually think he's got a decent heart, and I think a lot of this is just a game to him of trying to get that profile and noise. And let's be honest, without Teofimo the other day, the press conference wouldn't have been as exciting and interesting. And he's done a great job, but he's bonkers. But I think good for the sport. There's all those guys. I mean, that fight card, May 2nd, you've got Ryan, Devin, and Teo. They're really like three of the real young stars of the sport. And good to see Ryan back focused, and it's a big night for Devin Haney. But Teofimo stole the show.
People saying promoters should be concerned about the announcement. Are you concerned about the future now?
I think if you don't believe in your ability and you haven't got strong foundations of a great business, then you may be concerned, but I don't think no is the answer. I think our relationship with Saudi Arabia and His Excellency has got a long way to go. If it stopped today, we'd still have a huge business with over 30 dates globally and a huge broadcast deal. So nothing can really hurt us. And I like the competition, but I don't necessarily see it as competition just yet, unless the intention is something different to my perception of it. And my perception of it is it's a league to bring fighters through with a very powerful group in TKO and a very smart man and a great promoter in Dana White. And I think I look at it more positively and a reflection of boxing as to the fact they want to get involved just shows you the position that boxing's in.
You're a bit confused why he chose Dana White when he's been working so closely with you and Frank.
Dana White's a huge name, and if he's going to get involved in boxing in some capacity, why not? If he's got that ESPN deal as well, I think that, it's going to be. I think it's very unlikely that what Dana and TKO does fails. Do you know what I mean? It's just how successful can it be, and what changes are going to be made. We've talked about this best feeder best, and I'm a big supporter of that. The one belt structure. I don't know, it's been talked about for many, many years, but no one's ever come into the sport with the same kind of financial power of His Excellency. So you can make it happen, but it requires a huge amount of investment, and I don't know the crux of the deal or the structure or the strategy of how that's going to play out.
So did you ever inkling this was going to happen? Because
for about a year. I mean, everybody's been talking about the TKO deal. I mean, we've known for well over 6 months. I mean, the last 3 months just waiting for the announcement. I don't know enough about the structure and how it works, but you can bet your life that with His Excellency and Dana White, it's going to be pretty big, and I think it's exciting.
Just to clear something up on social media, people saying that your talk of retirement earlier this week coincided with this. What do you want to say to that?
One thing, I've never talked about retirement. Like Boxing Kingdom, who are like a wind-up site on Twitter, posted saying Eddie Hearn is about to retire from the sport, blah, 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 blah. I've had Tony Bellew message me going, mate, what are you doing? You can't go nowhere, blah, blah. I'm like, mate, I ain't going nowhere. I'm enjoying my job more than I've ever enjoyed it. I'm enjoying boxing more than I've ever enjoyed it. If we're working together, I'm all in. If they want to fight, I'm all in. So yeah, just to confirm, I ain't going nowhere. Number one in the game, baby.
Just last one from me. Simon Jordan said when you had that debate about promoters and stuff, that now your argument seems a bit flawed. Saying that promoters were important to events and stuff, given the fact that he's now got this new league. I assume you disagree?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Simon Jordan would have got a hard on when he saw the news because of the thought that it might affect me in some way. I believe we're just going to go from strength to strength. Maybe we're involved in the league. Maybe we just do Riyadh season events. Maybe we just do Ring Magazine events. Maybe we do none. And we just carry on doing what we were doing in the first place, which was being the biggest in the world and making a load of money and providing opportunity for fighters. But I believe this is just the beginning of what we're seeing. And of course, in our position, we'll be there right to the very end.
With there being no belts, press conference, a message I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, the whole thing about, Dana White saying you don't need 3 letters before, presumably is saying that the IBF and the WBC and the WBO are not part of the plan. For a long time, people have talked about one belt and that, you can't underestimate the value of that belt to a fighter. Because I've talked to him about it before. This new belt, one belt thing has been something that's been talked about with investment companies for over a decade. But the fighters want to win those championship belts. And I like the idea of one champion. I like the idea of finding out who the best is. But it's also very difficult for contenders to get the opportunity to win a world title. Like, you imagine I had a fighter that was, world champion. And there's this absolute beast coming up. And there's only one belt, and you're looking at him going, "I'll swerve that." Like, I get that the league might bring everyone together, but the reality is that the 4 belts do provide opportunities for great fighters to become world champions. But I also understand the fascination with one belt, and I guess that's the plan moving forward for them. But I don't know enough about the plan to tell you if that is or not. But certainly the messaging that we heard from the announcement seems to suggest that.
When you teamed up with Turki or started working with him, I remember him saying, "We're a fast train, you're either on it or we'll go past you." Do you think there's a worry now that maybe he's used you for your time and now he's moving on with Dana White?
I don't think so, but if he has, thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. I've made a lot of money, and our fighters have had a great opportunity. My relationship with His Excellency is a very good one. It's a very deep one. We've been extremely loyal to him. He's been extremely loyal to us. There's not just the league. There's Riyadh season. There's Ring Magazine events. There's WBC Grand Prix. We don't rely on Saudi Arabia to run out, for our business, but we enjoy it, and it's also been very productive and fruitful for Matchroom and our fighters. So I think with the job that we've done, I think His Excellency is a smart man. He knows how good I am. But if we shook hands today and never worked again, we'd go back to doing 35 shows a year globally and still being the biggest in the world. But as I said just down there, I believe this is just the beginning. If everybody wants to work together, great. If there's a fight all of a sudden, I'm up for that as well. I'm chilled, I really am. And I look at it as a positive. You get a lot of people, I've had a lot of phone calls. What do you think about that? I said, it's great. Dana White's, TKO, it's a great company, it's a great business. If they're looking at boxing, it lifts everybody. And I think sometimes in boxing, people are too, that's going to affect you, that's going to affect you. Just believe in yourself and keep doing what you're doing and let it elevate the game. We're seeing that with Riyadh season and this big push in Saudi Arabia at the moment. What it's actually doing is it's lifting boxing. We're sold out nearly every event we're doing, and that's because of how hot boxing is right now. So I actually think it's a great thing, whatever way it plays out.
What do you make of this comment with Dana when they said, "We'll leave you on Alcatraz Island"? Is there anything to take from that?
But that's His Excellency, and that's the kind of fuckery that he likes. And it's like when I go to see him and he puts a video saying Eddie's finished, stick to snooker and boxing. Do you know what I mean? But that could be a good TV show. Put all the promoters on Alcatraz and see who comes off it. And I'll tell you who come off it. It's me.
Eddie, Taylor Serrano, are you disappointed not to land that fight, or is it a
I'm over the moon to land that fight. Like the financial deal, mind blowing. And thank you MVP for the opportunity of not just the fight but the payday for Katie Taylor. It's unbelievable. could we have got that payday? Maybe, but did we have it on the line? No. And when they offered it and we negotiated the fight with Nikisa, we're all in on that fight. So thank you for the opportunity. It's going to be an incredible event. And as I spoke to Katie last night, we can't believe where this journey has taken us, and I believe she'll be triumphant and lead that Taylor Serrano rivalry 3-0. But both tremendous fighters. I think everything depends on the performance. You have to remember, like the Serrano performance last time was actually a good performance. The Cameron performance before that was a really good performance. So you judge at this stage, you judge everything on the performance, and she's hungrier than ever.
Any more, guys? Eddie, what's your reaction to Ben Shalom revealing the second day weigh-in time?
Say that again?
What's your reaction to Ben Shalom revealing the date?
I don't know, what did he say?
He said that they've contested about the time, basically making it sound like that Conor Ben wanted the second day weigh-in later on in the day.
No, not at all. We just wanted the second day weigh-in around the time that second day weigh-ins take place, which is 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And Eubank said he wanted it from midnight or something like that. It's just, that's not how the second day weigh-in works. So there's been a lot of moaning since they signed the contract, but it is what it is for a big fight.
What is the latest with Conor Ben's application to get a licence with the board?
He has applied for a licence with the British Boxing Board of Control, and he will be licensed by the British Boxing Board of Control for this fight.
One more down there. Eddie, the Fisher number 2 fight. It's a huge British domestic investor. Is there a scope for a third fight? Because I believe there is a index clause.
Yeah, look, the reality is a bit like Taylor Serrano, right? Katie Taylor's won the first 2 fights. We're doing a third. It's quite unusual, but this is going to be a war. So whether Johnny wins, whether Dave Allen wins, the third is a possibility. If Dave Allen does win, you will definitely see the third, in my opinion. But again, you don't know. If he wins well, maybe they don't take the third. Anything could happen. But yeah, that every fight between Allen and Fisher is going to be a war.